Hi, my name's Mia Evans, and welcome to a day in my life on the Osa Nature Reserve with EF Gap Year. We started the day at sunrise and woke up to the sound of tons of howler monkeys. We did this so that we could hike to a beach and take an early morning census of the sea turtle clutches that had been laid the night before. We got to our starting location a little bit early, so our guide Sabrina let us take a few minutes to take pictures and enjoy the beautiful scenery of Osa. There were actually two groups of us out this morning, and we were group 1, and group 2 was starting at the other end of the beach, and we were going to kind of meet in the middle. As we walked down the beach, we were looking for nests that had either survived the night or been predated. Sabrina walked ahead and looked for any identifiers from predators.
A vulture came by, there's some vulture prints, and the hermit crabs are a good indicator.
We found our first nest, but it had already been scavenged by predators and was overrun with hermit crabs. Sabrina drew a line in the sand to indicate that we had already checked out the nest, even though we won't continue to monitor it because there's no likelihood of hatchlings. They warned us that group 1 would have to do a river crossing, and I don't know if you can call it quite that, but after our little mini river crossing, we met up with group 2, who had found baby sea turtles making their way to the ocean. When we got there, group 2 had found a healthy nest and were escorting the hatchlings to the water. As we escorted them, we protected their soft shells from sunburn by shading them with our legs and warded off any crabs or birds. Our 2 Osa guides who handled the eggs from this clutch counted about 117, with almost all of them hatching. Our teams only arrived to see about 24 to 25 of the hatchlings get to the water, but it was so worth it. And the fact that we got to see any at all was so amazing. At about 6 or 7 a.m., we made it back from the beach for our typical Costa Rican breakfast, and after eating, we just kind of hung out and listened to music for a couple of hours before our next activity. A little bit later, we hopped on a bus that was going to take us to a tour of Osa's sustainable farm. The first thing our guide showed us was the greenhouse, and here she talked about all the food that they grow for the kitchen and how most of what we've been eating comes straight from the farm. She also explained that we didn't just eat from the greenhouse, and we got to visit the chicken coop and the makers of our breakfast eggs from that same morning.
Hang against your body.
Right outside the chicken coop, there's an achiote tree, whose fruit contains seeds that you can crush and get a vibrant paste or dye, and it's used here in Costa Rica for dyeing fabrics and rice. Next, she showed us some of the crops that they have at the farm, including peppers, potatoes, lettuce, ginger, even things like vanilla and jackfruit, and anything really that they need for the kitchen. It was amazing to see how much love and respect the Osa team had for the land they farmed, and how much fun they had doing it. Next, we helped out around the farm by doing chores like raking and collecting eggs. My group got to work in an orchard where we cleared around the bases of young saplings so that they had some room to grow and less competition for nutrients and space.
Freddie, thoughts? How are we doing?
You're doing excelente. Pura vida so far. You guys doing great, actually.
After about 45 minutes to an hour of working with the saplings, we got some surprise refreshments from some members of the Osa team at the farm. They brought the coconuts over in a huge tractor and opened them up for us with their machetes so that we could drink the water and also eat the meat. After that, we headed back to the pavilion for a little bit of a later lunch, which was super good, before sitting for a lesson on apex predators in preparation for setting up trail cams. Next, we hiked into the jungle to set up 4 cams around the biostation. We learned how to record environmental conditions that could impact what gets caught on the trail cam, like tree cover and ground vegetation. By the time we hiked back to the pavilion for dinner, it was dark and the power had gone out at the station. Let me tell you, nothing makes you feel more like a jungle explorer than a dinner in the rainforest lit by a few candles and empty bean cans. I'm so grateful that I got to record this amazing day. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.